Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm really excited to bring this to you. This is my signature course. My name is Gina Covarrubias. I am an engineering life coach, and my business is Deliberate Doing. And just to give you a little background about myself, I used to be an engineer. My dream was to be an aerospace engineer, and I made it happen. And I found myself very dissatisfied, and I went through phases during my career. So I worked for 12, 13 years or so, and I found myself kind of going in and out of phases during my career. I would be content sometimes, other times I would be very unhappy. And I can tell you, for the whole time that I worked as an engineer, I was always in search of my dream job. And I thought it was out there, and that I worked so hard to get my degrees, and that if I just looked hard enough, I would find it. And it never happened. So long story short, I actually ended up leaving the engineering profession, and this was well before COVID. And I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I just decided I've done this enough and it's time to move on. And I discovered what coaching was. So here I am, coaching engineers and other STEM professionals to help them get unstuck and to help them learn how to like their jobs exactly where they are, or to help them understand why they should or should not move on to something else. Because let's face it, we are bombarded with decisions in our careers. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I go back to school? Do I go and get another certification? And so on. So this course I put together to help you understand yourself on a deeper level so that you can make better decisions and have a strong career. So the name of my course is Overcoming Career Constraints, What College Does Not Teach You. And let me tell you folks, there is a lot of stuff here that I wish I knew back in the day, especially as a student, especially as a young professional. So let's move on and take a quick look at our outline for today. I'm going to help you understand why I created this course in the introduction. I will talk about the 3 different modules that the course entails, and then we'll talk about some logistics, formatting and scheduling and pricing and those sorts of things. So we're going to start with the premise of this course. The premise is that career growth comes from personal growth. Now, this is really important, and this is something that I never understood. Nobody ever told me, once again, when I was starting out in my career. This picture here is a picture of a foundation that is in the process of being built. So let me tell you where many professionals go wrong. They work very hard on the surface level stuff, such as studying hard and doing their research and brushing up on their interviewing skills and having a great resume and getting those certifications. All that stuff is wonderful. It's great. However, you put all of those efforts at risk if you don't have a strong foundation upon which to build your career. So it would be like taking a foundation that has cracks in it, putting up walls, slapping on a roof, painting the inside, and then here comes a hurricane, here comes a tornado, and it's gone, it blows away. That is what I don't want to happen for your career. This course will help you build a strong foundation, which leads to your building a strong career. That is the whole premise of this course. The theme, and this is a statement that's taken out of a book I have about mindfulness. The theme is that self-development is less about learning new skills as it is about discovering ourselves by giving something up, including some of our most cherished notions of the person we think we are, in order to discover the person we could become. This is important because what this course does is it helps you understand some of the beliefs you have about yourself that perhaps are not working well for you. And it helps you understand some beliefs you have about yourself that have gotten you to where you are. But the next step is to let go of some of those beliefs that aren't serving you anymore and open yourself up to believing new things. That is what this course is all about. Here is the way the course is structured. There are 12 lectures total, lectures or classes, and they're broken up into 3 different modules. And we will get into talking about each of these 3 modules here in a moment. But I wanted you to understand that each module contains 4 classes, and each lecture or each class has approximately a 25 to 30-minute lecture. Now, this is the 3rd time I'm teaching this course, and some of the feedback I've received in the past is that a 30-minute lecture is plenty. That is more than enough to get people's brains turning for 1 week. This course helps you build resilience. Once again, when the unexpected happens in your career, let's say, heaven forbid, you get walked out the door, you get laid off, or your job disappears, or they move you somewhere else. This course will help you build the resilience you need to bounce back and to say, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. I can handle this. I can do this. So some of the examples, if you haven't experienced any of these already, you might in the future. I don't know if engineering is right for me. Maybe I need to switch industries. Should I stay in this job or should I go? I think the grass is greener on the other side, so I'm going to try something else. Should I go back to school and get another degree? My future is so uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen and I don't like it. I'm overwhelmed. There are too many options. I don't know what I want to do next. Or this job is not what I thought. And let me tell you folks, that was me for a long time. I went through a couple of depressions, I will tell you, during my years as an engineer, because I was so intent on finding my dream job. And the more I tried, the more I failed. And I remember being in a position many times of telling myself, this is not what I thought it was. This is not why I went to school. This is not why I took out all those student loans, and so on. This leads us to talking about Module 1. Module 1 is about your career stagnating. It's about helping you understand why your career has stagnated and to help you understand what you can do to move forward. So let's take a quick look here at some of the topics in Module 1. Class 1, which is next Wednesday evening at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and everybody is invited to that, by the way. That is totally free to everybody. Class 1 is going to talk about why are you held back in the workplace? Many people think they know what's holding them back. My boss won't promote me. My colleagues might sabotage me, or they don't give me credit, and on and on and on. I'm going to help you understand some things that are holding you back in your career. And for those of you students, by the way, if there are any students here in the audience, this class is wonderful information for you to know before you get to the world of work. You will have a leg up over everybody else. Class 2 is about emotional substitution. We're only human, and we tend to substitute bad emotions for better ones. So we're going to talk about what that means and what that looks like for you. I'm going to teach you how to apply your thoughts and your feelings. You'll understand the purpose of thoughts and feelings and how to maximize them for yourself. In class 3, we're going to talk about the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control, such as, for example, getting a raise. You think you might be able to control the outcome. You think if you work hard and prove yourself, you're going to get that raise. But at the end of the day, it's not your call. It's not your decision. So we're going to talk about all the things in the workplace that you can and cannot control. And that's very important to understand so that you don't waste effort and energy on the things that you cannot control. And then in class 4, we'll talk about goals. Why should we set goals? And I'll tell you right now, the purpose is not to be happy. And we'll talk about investing in your career. What does it mean for you? What does it look like for you to invest in your career? And so the topics for Module 1 are listed at the bottom, and certainly there are others. This is just a snippet, but we will talk about goals and failure, and you will become a better decision maker. We're going to talk about work relationships, imposter syndrome, and all of these things that fall into the silo of things that are holding you back. Okay, Module 2, I titled Career Dependency. And the theme of Module 2 is to establish personal autonomy. And what do I mean by this? Well, here at the bottom, I've written, defeat career attachment and build your self-confidence. In my experience, both as an engineer as well as coaching people in my practice, I come across people time and time again who are very much dependent on their employer, and they feel like the employer has the upper hand. And many people feel they have to work out of fear, or they feel a little bit threatened. There are many ways that your employer can make you feel like they have the upper hand. And so Module 2 is all about gaining enough self-confidence, gaining autonomy for yourself so that you feel comfortable enough, so that you feel empowered enough to be able to walk away if you want to. Because I will tell you right now, you do not need your current employer. And I will help you understand this in Module 2. You may need a way to make an income, but I will tell you there are many, many, many employers, hundreds, if not thousands of employers who would be more than happy to have you. So Module 2 is all about building up your confidence and your self-worth so that your employer needs you more than you need them. And that's a very powerful place to be. So Class 1 of Module 2 talks about emotional careers and self-identity. Now, I really resonate with this topic. My career to me, back in the day, meant everything. I was very emotionally attached to it. And when the career was going okay, that means my life was going okay. And when it took a turn for the worst, my life just tanked. And I want you to understand that it doesn't have to be that way. You can separate yourself, your identity, from your work. Class 2 is about self-confidence and how we sabotage ourselves. And self-confidence is a big one. That is a topic that comes up over and over with many people, despite their experience level, despite their age. Class 3 is about teaching you some tools on how to be more autonomous from your employer, how to give you more power, how to give you more belief in yourself. And then Class 4 is about authenticity and vulnerability, which I suspect is something that engineers and technical professionals in general probably don't think much about. I certainly know I didn't think about being vulnerable or authentic in the workplace. So those are two important concepts when it comes to establishing your own autonomy. And a couple of topics here at the bottom that I've listed. We're going to talk about personal identity. We're going to talk about boundaries, what they mean, and how to enforce boundaries. We're going to talk about your career outcomes and the fact that some people feel like they put in so much effort into their career, but they're not seeing the results. They're not seeing the outcomes, and they're frustrated by it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about accountability. How can you take more accountability for your career? And of course, self-confidence. That's always on the table. Everybody can use some self-confidence lessons. Okay, let's take a look at Module 3. Module 3 is about being unfulfilled in your career. And again, this resonates with me because I felt that off and on for many, many years during my career. I felt like my career was supposed to make me feel fulfilled. So this module is all about creating your career purpose. And what I've written here at the bottom, create your dream job and live your career purpose. I picked my wording very carefully here. Create your dream job is exactly what needs to happen if you want a dream job. In other words, don't make the same mistake I did and just assume your dream job is out there and that it exists in the world, and if you look hard enough, you'll find it. That is usually not the case, and you'll find out why on the conclusion page. In most cases, people have to create their dream jobs. So let's talk about that. Class 1 is a quick overview of authenticity, and then we talk about leadership and influence. And here's something that I want you to remember. I don't care if you just started a brand new job today, or if you've been there for 20 years, you are a leader and you have influence. It's very important that you understand that. I know, especially in the corporate world, there tends to be this hierarchy, and people can be intimidated by titles and by their bosses. But it's very important for everybody to understand you are a leader and you are an influencer, whether you're in the office or in the laboratory or teaching a class, it doesn't matter. Class 2 is about your dream job. Where is it? How do you create it? Where does it come from? What does it look like? Class 3 takes it another step. Class 3 is about happiness in your career. What does success look like in your career? What does failure look like in your career? And what does it mean to you? And that leads us to the very last class of the whole course, which is about creating your purpose. And what does that look like for your future? And in class 4, I teach 3 pillars of career purpose. So some of the topics that are included in this module are happiness and career fulfillment and success and passion. That's another big one I hear from a lot of people that I talk to. They come to me and they say, I want to feel passion in my career. I'm looking for passion. So we talk about passion in module 3. And legacy. Some people are very concerned about their legacy. Other people never think about their legacy. So I've got a few things to say about that in module 3. Now that leads us to our conclusion. The course conclusion is that if you have a strong internal foundation, that will translate to your creating a very strong external career. That's the way it works. In other words, your career can only be as good as you are. Your career can only be as good as your internal state of mind. Okay, you can't have a better external career than the way you feel inside about yourself. And that's what this course is all about, giving you that really strong internal foundation so you can go out there and be resilient and kill it in your career. Now, here is the course schedule for spring 2020 or winter 2022. And we're going to meet every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, approximately from 8 until 8:45. It depends on how many people are enrolled in the class. And if I have to move a class from a Wednesday to another day of the week for some odd reason, I will certainly ask and make sure everybody's okay with that. But they will be webinars just like this. I will be teaching. You will have a chance to chat in the chat box so nobody sees each other. And classes will end at the very end of April, right before the Memorial Day month of May. So here's our schedule. This is our tentative schedule, which could change, but this is the plan for now. And let's talk a little bit about format. So as I mentioned, class will happen every Wednesday from 8 to approximately 8:45. Every lecture will be recorded, so you don't have to attend live, although most people prefer it that way. And people can join the class at any point in time. They don't have to join from the beginning. Open enrollment is always. Q&A and open discussion may happen after every lecture. It depends on how many people are enrolled and how many people want to stick around and chat. And as an attendee of each lecture, you will receive the video replay, you'll receive a copy of the slide deck. And there's also a worksheet that you'll receive that pertains to each particular lecture. The worksheets do not have to be turned in. They're not homework that you have to give to me. It's more about getting you to apply what you've learned in the lecture to your own life. That's the purpose of the worksheets. Okay, and that brings us to pricing. If you register for class 1 or for class 2, and class 1 starts next week on the 9th, then as an early bird special, you'll get 30% off the normal price. The normal price is $1,300. So for any of you that come to class 1 and 2 and you want to continue and buy the full course, it will cost $910 for you. And again, everyone is welcome to register for classes 1 and 2. I want as many people to join as possible. Even if they don't end up buying the class, that's totally fine, because they will still get a lot of good outcomes from just attending classes 1 and 2. And you can register on my events page. And then for those of you who want to continue with the full course, you will receive the link for class 3 after you've paid your tuition. All right, and that leads us to a couple of testimonials that I've had from last year. And I'll just read what's written in here in orange. At the top, I recommend this course to anyone who has confidence issues or is looking to improve their mindset. And the second one, I recommend this course to those struggling with personal work identity conflation, overachievement, and general anxiety about their career. And the third one at the bottom, I recommend this course to anyone who is at a point in their career where they feel burned out and unsure of what they want to do next. So that is a flavor of some of the issues that my previous students experienced. And this is what they had to say about the course. And I think this is my last slide. This here is a flyer for my class 1 registration. I actually cut off the top and the bottom just a little bit. You'll find this flyer on my events page, and I will be sharing it on LinkedIn. And so I encourage those of you in the audience tonight, if you have friends or if you work with colleagues who might really get some good insights from this course, or if there's something I said that you think will resonate with other people, please feel free to share my flyer, my events page with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers. And I will be posting this on LinkedIn as well. And if we're connected, feel free to share it with your network. All right. And that is my very last slide. If you are ready to ignite your career, if you need a boost, if you want help understanding where you're going, or if you want help understanding who you are in this whole process of creating a career, then please register for class 1 on next Wednesday evening.